What if I told you that your so-called overthinking problem might actually be a sign of deep intelligence? That your racing thoughts, your endless questions, your late-night reflection aren't signs of weakness, but signs of a mind that refuses to live on autopilot. Today, we're talking about 5 subtle signs that you're not just overthinking. You're a deep thinker, a mind that sees the world differently, a mind that asks questions most people are afraid to even consider.
1. You rewind conversations, not just to worry, but to understand. You know that feeling? A conversation happened hours ago, but your mind is still inside it. Most people assume it's anxiety, but for deep thinkers, it's not about regret, it's about understanding. You replay words like a detective analyzing clues. Why did they say that? What did they really mean? Could I have responded better? Psychologists call this metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. People who do this aren't obsessing over mistakes, they're studying human behavior. They're learning from every interaction. Example story moment. You're lying in bed, lights off. The world is silent, but your mind isn't. You're not punishing yourself, you're decoding human nature. That's not overthinking. That's emotional intelligence growing in real time.
2. You imagine future scenarios in extreme detail. Deep thinkers don't wait for life to happen. They simulate it in their minds first. You don't just think about tomorrow. You imagine it. You see the room, the people, the conversations. You even predict how you'll feel. Most people call it worrying, but it's actually called mental time travel, a form of advanced cognitive ability. Your brain runs thousands of what-if scenarios, not because you're scared, but because you like to be prepared. If something goes wrong, you already know how to respond. If it goes right, you've already lived it once inside your mind. This ability is linked to high creativity and problem solving. 3. You think about life, death, and the meaning of everything. While others are talking about trends, drama, or what's cool, your mind drifts to deeper places, places most people avoid. You think about, why are we here? What happens after we die? What does happiness really mean? What is my purpose? This isn't depression. It's called existential intelligence, a form of thinking that philosophers, scientists, and innovators have shared for centuries. You're not weird for thinking this way. You're just brave enough to ask the questions most people silence.
4. You feel mentally exhausted, even when you've done nothing physical. Some days, you wake up tired, not because your body is exhausted, but because your mind hasn't stopped running. Deep thinkers spend so much time analyzing, imagining, creating, that the brain sometimes feels like a computer with too many tabs open. This is called cognitive fatigue. It doesn't make you weak. It means your brain is working at a high capacity. But remember, just like a muscle, even the brain needs rest, silence, solitude, space to breathe. 5. You crave deep conversations, and small talk feels empty. You don't hate people, you just hate shallow conversations. Talking about weather, gossip, trends drains you. But give you a conversation about passion, dreams, the universe, psychology, and suddenly you light up. You crave connection, not just conversation. This is called high-level interpersonal depth. You want to know someone's fears, hopes, what keeps them awake at night, what makes their heart race, not just where they went on vacation.
Closing. So if your mind feels heavy sometimes, if you feel alone in how deeply you think, I want you to remember this. You're not broken. You're not weird. You're simply wired differently. You're a deep thinker in a shallow world, and that is rare. That is powerful. So if this feels like you, stay, because on this channel, we don't just think, we understand the mind behind the thoughts. Subscribe.
And never apologize for thinking deeply again.